just a past. Darkness of the clouds, the day of Yahweh, cloud by day, pillar of fire by the night. Create in me a clean heart so I can keep your Torah. Peace for the soul that cuts down into the soul of man. Blood in the streets, prophecies come to pass. The wicked shall not stand in the day of love, creating me a clean heart. So I can keep your the day of love, the day of Yahweh.
Are you ready for this, Mishpachah? Are you ready to run up the score on these people, on the enemy? And are you ready to do a little dance and shout for joy? Wait till you see what I got to show you. This article was put out today. It says Codex Sassoon, oldest complete copy of the Bible, returns to Israel. Oh, yay. What's so significant about this? Let me read it to you. The ancient manuscript flew on an EIAI passenger flight, although it flew in a seat more prestigious than the first class, the cockpit. This was deemed the safest place for it on the plane. Upon landing, Captain Amos Aldeag removed the Codex from its secure safe in the cockpit and carried it out to a warm reception on the tarmac. What exactly is a codex and why is it special? A codex, in the context of ancient text, is a book or manuscript that is copied and bound with text appearing on both sides of the page, the way a modern book is printed. On both sides of the page, Mishpachah. The return of the Codex to Israel. The ambassador Alfred Moses, chair of ANU's honorary board and donor of Codex Sassoon to the museum, stated upon its return to the state of Israel, the Hebrew Bible is the most influential book in history and constitutes the bedrock of Western civilization. Yeah, it does. Not the Hebrew Bible, but what I'm going to show you and what you should already know. I'm hoping that some of you, I would love if all of us would jump for joy the second we saw that this was printed on either side. And you're going to see the significance, and if you don't. But I would have, like I said, hoped that we could have all done backflips. Now, for anyone who doesn't know why that's significant, when I read Zechariah chapter 5 right here, you're going to know precisely why it's significant and why Anyone, all of us should be shouting for joy. Verse 1, chapter 5. And I lifted up my eyes again and looked and saw a flying scroll. And he said to me, what do you see? And I answered, I see a flying scroll, 20 cubits long and 10 cubits wide. And he said to me, this is the curse that goes forth over the face of the earth, of all the earth. Everyone who is stealing, the curse is this, everyone who is stealing shall go unpunished on the one side, according to it. And everyone who has sworn falsely shall go unpunished on the other side, according to it. So the curse that he's talking about is that anyone who steals shall go unpunished, and anyone who swears falsely by his name shall go unpunished. I shall send it out, declares Yahuwah of hosts, and it shall come into the house of the thief. Where'd it come to? The house of the thief, and the house of the one who shall swear falsely by my name. Now, are you seeing the significance of this scroll printed on either side that flew on an airplane and landed in Jerusalem? Yeah. And it shall remain in the midst of his house and shall consume it, both its timber and stones. That's right. And the messenger who was speaking with me came out and said to me, lift up your eyes now and see what this is that is going forth. And I said, what is it? And he said, it is an ephah measure that is going forth. Again, he said, this is their appearance throughout the earth. This is their appearance. And see, a lead cover lifted up, and this, a woman sitting inside the ephah measure. And he said, this right here, this is wrongness in the house of the thief. And he threw her down into the ephah measure and threw the lead weight over its mouth. And I lifted my eyes and looked and saw two women coming with the wind in their wings. And they had wings like the wings of a stork. Don't storks usually deliver babies in cartoons? Yeah. And they lifted up the ephah measure between earth and the heavens. Then I said to the messenger who was speaking to me, where are they taking the ephah measure? And he said to me, to build a house for it in the land of Shinar. And it shall be established and set there on its own base. Hallelujah. This article come out today. Check it out. In 1831, under a mountain of volcanic ash in the ancient city of Pompeii, a mosaic was uncovered. The mosaic, one of the most important pieces of art to ever be rediscovered, covered the floor of one room in the house of Fawn. Dubbed the Alexander Mosaic, it was remarkably well preserved, and while parts of it are damaged, two figures stand out among all others. Alexander and his favorite horse, Buphalus. In 334 BC, a horse dealer called Pholonius, the Thessalonian, led a black stallion into an arena in Macedonia. He hoped to sell the horse to King Philip II. But while the horse was tall, well-formed, and strong, it was also ill-tempered. In the audience, his son Alexander the Great was watching as these events unfolded. He stood before the stallion, could be dismissed, calling out, what an excellent horse do they loose for want of address and boldness to manage him. They were going to do away with the horse, and the son spoke up right before they were about to dismiss him. Philip, used to his son's brashness, initially ignored this comment, but Alexander would not be swayed. His son's outburst increased in distress until finally Philip addressed the boy of 12, asking, do you reproach those who are older than yourself as if you were better able to manage him than they? You You're going to rebuild the house in 3 days, tear it down. It took us 46 years to build this. Born again, you're going to go back into your mother's womb and come back out as a man. Bread of life that come down from heaven, is that rye bread or is that pumpernickel? Yeah. Indeed, Alexander thought he could win the horse's trust, unlike the horse dealer or his father's grooms. Finally, Philip relented once Alexander promised to pay for the horse. Yeah, he paid, didn't he? If he could not tame it. What Philip didn't know was that his son had observed what was spooking the massive horse this whole time. Can you guess what it was? Its shadow. The crowd jeered as Alexander descended towards the arena. Approaching the horse slowly, he gently turned the horse towards the sun, putting the horse's shadow behind him. Whining and dining, baby. And the stallion allowed Alexander to take his reins. Then, as the jeers morphed into cheers, Alexander mounted the horse and with a firm hand and voice, whining and dining, rode him. Hallelujah. It is said that Philip was overcome by his son's talents, kissing him and telling him, "Oh, my son, look thee out a kingdom equal to and worthy of thyself, for Macedonia is too little for thee." It don't get no better than this, because this is where it's at. Everything we've been learning, only the 144. This what we're reading right now. It's telling us the story, the love story of the marriage supper of the Lamb. Now, to the average person, to the majority of the people, they'll read this, if they read it, and they'll never know the difference. They'll never know that the story is in here, that they're talking about it, that this is more proof for, you know what this is? However you want to look at this, but what this is the goodness of Abba Yahuwah. Because if he didn't do all he could, he would be leaving his children out, leaving them high and dry. He's covering everything for us, Mishpachah. And that way, at the end, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, he'll have done all he could. It's kind of like the story that I've been talking about here lately, huh? Yeah. Alexander named the steed Bucephalus, a combination of the Greek words bos for ox and kephalos, which means head. What do you think about that? Yeah, Abba Yahuwah, he knows all the right moves, let me tell you. And out on the dance floor, like I've been saying, he stands alone. Whether the horse was named such for a giant head or his stubborn temper is up for debate. But Pliny the Elder spoke of Bucephalus and his unique name in the natural histories, whatever that means, or whatever that place is. Alexander named the steed Bucephalus, a combination, I just read that, my bad. After his taming, Bucephalus belonged to Alexander and only Alexander. He wouldn't tolerate other riders, and a friendship formed between man and horse that was unlike any other. Yeah, just like I've been saying, when you follow the Lamb and he leads you wherever he wants to lead you, and you follow him alone, that means you're going to be doing some things, and you're going to find out what those things are. And if you have the childlike faith and the humility and the love for the Most High to put one foot in front of the other, get in the car, put it in gear, stomp on the gas, and head towards that resting place, when you get there, you'll have faith. The faith and the relationship that you're going to have with the Most High will be unlike any other the world has ever seen. Prove me wrong. To Alexander, Bucephalus was more than a companion. He was loved. Alexander rode Bucephalus into many battles, and it was said that the steed was braver than most, owing to his bond with his rider. Bucephalus would kick and bite at enemies, fighting almost as hard as Alexander himself. What was Bucephalus, this horse's origins? Although the breed is almost extinct today. Yeah, the remnant. Thessalonian horses were quite popular as war horses back in the days of Alexander the Great. When the horse dealer introduced him to Alexander and Philip, he told him that the stallion was from the best Thessalonian bloodlines around. So apparently someone must have kidnapped this horse. Because it says, soon enough, everyone knew about Alexander's bond with Bucephalus. After the Battle of Issues, where Alexander defeated King Darius, he left Bucephalus behind while he went on a brief trip. He said, I'm going to go pray. Watch, Peter. That's what he said. When he returned, though, Bucephalus was kidnapped. Alexander was, in short, enraged by this. Not only was he bonded strongly to the horse, but it was a blatant threat against Alexander. The world knew Alexander loved Bucephalus, so how was it possible that he could be taken? No one quite knows the details of his kidnapping, but we know that Alexander issued a promise that if his horse was not returned, he would raze the land and kill every inhabitant. Yeah. Yep. Chastised and begging for mercy, the kidnapper returned the horse post haste. Yep. You should just throw the dial away, Mishpachah, now. Because this is the word of the Most High. I'm about to read to you the word of the Most High that's going to solidify. It should solidify your faith. There should be nothing that you wouldn't do now. You want to talk about mustard seeds, telling mountains, grabbing a hold of them and tossing them across the sky? Put your bib on. You're about to see. But before I do, let me show you this one thing. So, I played that little clip the other day about the lady. I was telling you about what John Campbell, the doctor, said about this WHO amendments that are going to be, whatever word you want to call it, passed as law, whatever, I don't know. It's in December is when that is supposed to go into action. And just like we expected, there's no signatures still as of today. And look, Mish, there's no one going to go in and sign, put their signature down to put a stop to it. They're all in favor of it. They're the ones that have brought it forth. Okay? So it's going to be in December, which is, 2 months away. And I did some more, like I said, more crunching of the numbers. And if from the time that ISIS Ra'el was set up, if you add 70 years to that, like I said earlier, it gets you to April 18th, 2018. This law was first signed into law in December of 2018. And now they're just revamping it. They're giving what was already totalitarian, they're giving it some steroids, a shot in the leg to beef it up, but all the way to where it's like the Incredible Hulk. And yeah, so yeah, and like I've said, this is the Most High's doing ultimately, because how did you think that he was going to do away with all this wrongness, everything that you I mean, I hate to say loathe, because I don't want to say that negative of a word, but I mean, how negative is it going to have to get? Would it have to get? I don't know, for some of you who've been around here for a while, you might notice that I haven't been saying shalom, shalom like I did for so long at the beginning of my videos, because I stopped that for now. I mean, I want nothing but peace for me and you, all my brothers and sisters, everyone. That's been the goal this whole time. That, and to give all esteem to Abba Yahuwah. So that's definitely what I want. But the time we're in right now, it's just, if you look around at the people who don't love the Most High, who claim to love him, if you look around it, just at them, it's like the zombie apocalypse. And then you add all the secular people who don't, and the Christians who don't care nothing about him. But the fact that this message has been going out, and we seen that too, that's all Abba Yahuwah too. He he closed the eyes of these people so they couldn't see it, and everything for his good purpose. But either way, the time we're in, that's why he says you should beat your plowshares into swords. It's backwards this time, because Mishpachah, we all need to be slicing and dicing right now. We don't have the time. Our loved ones, the people we love, they can't afford for any of us to sit idly by and not be out here suited and booted, putting in the work. I mean, it's not hard to figure out. And just as we were just talking, this here act, it's less than 2 months away before it gets passed. But notice a couple things. If you can see down here, I must not have took the picture big enough. Maybe it's over here. It is, right here. It is House Resolution Act 4420 and 4421. There you go. 42. And not only that, it's Act 42. And not only that, when that alarm went off yesterday, in Army time, it went off at 1420 hours. The eclipse that's coming here in 9 days, it's going to last over Utah a total of 420 seconds. Yes, it is. Go look it up. And that asteroid story I read to you, I don't know if you guys actually considered what that was saying. They're claiming that a spaceship, space shuttle, whatever they claimed it was up there, they said that it was named Osiris. Osiris was the god, the mythical god of light, of shining light on things. And he was known as the foremost of the Westerners. And it said that that space shuttle went to the asteroid Bennu, Bennu, and that was known as the great phoenix. If you don't know, a phoenix is like a city rising up out of the ashes. And they dropped the asteroid in Utah, okay, on the 24th. Just more signs for you. I'm not going to read none of this act. But you can see, you probably know what that's all about and what is about to go down. And it's going down. Best believe it. But, and I'm sure you know that it's going down. But like I said, you know, the Most High, He doesn't leave us out here forsaken. He doesn't want anyone to perish. That's why He's given us, I hate to even say, a wealth of information, tools, strategy for us to use. And it's to find the deliverance, the escape, our resting place. He's given us more than anyone could ever ask for. And the only reason anyone wouldn't see it, it's because they ain't looking. They don't care. But Mishpachah, the word we've been reading, it's been shattering fantasies. It's been bringing down strongholds. It's what's talked about when it says, grab every thought and subject it to Messiah. You see the people of the world who live in fantasy land. I don't know what they think when they read that, or when they try to like use that power or whatever. What do they think? They think that they just pretend that because they say they're in Messiah, that they can grab thoughts and put them into subjection and take down strongholds. Is that what they think? Because what it means, it was meant for you to understand the substance in that. The substance, the tangible, however you want to, whatever you want to call it, something that you can grab a hold of that will solidify your faith, that leaves no room for doubt or guessing. It's obvious once you realize that that was meant for you to understand, to follow the word, the truth. If you have a thought, if you're thinking of getting caught up in the twinkling of an eye, like twinkle toes, when you do that, when you think about that, you think, where did I hear that? Is that true or is it not? What do when you come to such dilemmas? You go to the word, and the word will tell you that is hogwash. Throw it on the ground and leave it lay right there. He tells us, He's given us the blueprint. Look right here, Psalms 22. Let me read this to you. And, you know, the dance floor's popping. All you got to do is pay attention. Love the Most High. All it takes is desire. If you desire, you want to live, you love the Most High, you will dissect this word with me. But it's not hard. Check it out. My El, why have you forsaken me? Far from saving me. Far from the words of my groaning. Oh, my mighty Most High, I call by day, but you do not answer. And by night, but I find no rest. Yet you are set apart, enthroned on the praises of Yasharal. Our fathers trusted in you. They trusted you. They trusted, and you delivered them. They cried to you and were delivered. They trusted in you and were not ashamed. But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men and despised by the people. All those who seek me mock me. They shoot out the lip, they shake the head, saying, He trusted in Yahuwah. Let him rescue him. Let him deliver him, seeing he has delighted in him. For you are the one who took me out of the womb, causing me to trust while on my mother's breast. I was cast upon you from birth. From my mother's belly you have been my El. Do not be far from me, for distress is near, for there is none to help. Many bulls have surrounded me, strong ones of Bashan have encircled me. They have opened their mouths against me as a raging and roaring lion. I have poured out like water. I have been poured out like water, and all my bones have been spread apart. My heart has become like wax. It has melted in the midst of my inward parts. My strength is dried like a potsherd, and my tongue is cleaving to my jaws, and to the dust of death you are appointing me. For dogs have surrounded me. A crowd of evil ones have encircled me, piercing my hands and my feet. I count all my bones. They look, they stare at me. They divide my garments among them, and for my raiment they cast lots. But you, O Yahuwah, do not be far off, O my strength. Hasten to help me. Deliver my life from the sword, my only life from the power of the dog. Save me from the mouth of the lion, and from the horns of the wild beast you have answered me. I make known your name to my brothers. In the midst of the assembly I praise you. All esteem. You who fear Yahuwah, praise him. All you seed of Jacob, esteem him, and fear him, all you seed of Yasharal. For he had not despised nor hated the affliction of the afflicted. For he has not despised nor hated the affliction of the afflicted. Nor has he hidden his face from him, but when he cried to him, he heard. From you is my praise in the great assembly. I pay my vows before those who fear him. The meek ones do eat and are satisfied. Let those who seek him praise Yahuwah. Let your heart live forever. Let all the ends of the earth remember and turn to Yahuwah, and all clans of the nations bow themselves before you. For the reign belongs to Yahuwah, and he is ruling over the nations. All the fat ones of the earth shall eat and bow themselves. All who go down to the dust bow before him. Even he who did not keep alive his own life. A seed shall serve him. It is declared to Yahuwah to the coming generation. They shall come and declare his righteousness to a people yet to be born, for he shall do it. A people yet to be born. Mishpachah. That whole chapter was about what we're doing, about that key of David, about the road. And then the next chapter is 23. Yahuwah is my shepherd. I do not lack. I do not lack. I've been telling y'all, been talking about how I understand that that for a lot of people it is a little frightening, terrifying. For other people, they're going to love it if they ever do grasp a hold of this truth. Just think about that. Think about all the people who would love to get in their camper van or something, whatever it is, and do what needs to be done. But for those who start to see the truth in this, and then you start to weigh, and with a balance in your hand, you start to weigh the risk and the reward, and you get thinking, man, I'd have to quit my job, my children are in school, whatever it is, whatever the case may be. Or can I make it out there? What will I do when I get there? All that stuff. But what you need to understand is put all doubt aside. Yeah, it will be scary. Yes, but you just have to do it. It's just like swimming for the first time. You know how for the first time when you get in the water, you don't know. When you were a little child, you were scared you were going to drown. And you were just terrified. But once you got in the water and swam for a second and you seen that you could do it, you looked around and you were you thought to yourself, well, that's not too bad. And was it scary? It wasn't even nothing to worry about. And you went on swimming, and now it's like it didn't even happen. Like there was never a time that you were scared. All it takes is one step. Put one foot in front of the other. Yahuwah is your shepherd, and you will not lack. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He turns back my being. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. When I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread before me a table in the face of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup runs over. Only goodness and loving commitment follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell. Where? Where am I going to dwell? In the house of Yahuwah to the length of days. Check out 24. The earth belongs to Yahuwah and all that fills it, the world and those who dwell in it. For he has founded it upon the seas, and upon the waters he does establish it. Who goes up into the mountain of Yahuwah? And who does stand in his set-apart place? He who has innocent hands and a clean heart, who did not bring his life to nothing, and did not swear deceivingly. He receives a blessing from Yahuwah and righteousness from the Most High of his deliverance. This is the generation of those who seek him, Jacob, who seek your face, Salah. Lift up your hands, O you gates. Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors. And let the sovereign of esteem come in. Who is this sovereign of esteem? Abba Yahuwah, the Most High, strong and mighty, Yahuwah mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O you gates. Lift up, you everlasting doors, and let the sovereign of esteem come in. Who is this sovereign of esteem? Yahuwah of hosts he is the sovereign of esteem, Salah. You ever wonder why that repeated itself there? Why the Most High felt the need to repeat himself? All words, always, all necessary, strategically placed, precise in time, precise and calculated. He thinks of everything. He's got all the right moves. He said that twice because he don't leave us out here high and dry. He never has left us hanging. That's why what he was saying in what I just read to you. He said he comes to those who cry for him. But he gave us free will, Mishpachah. And he's not in the business of slavery or robots. He is no different than you when it comes to wanting someone to love him. He wants you to love him regardless. He wants you to, he wants to be able to see that you love him. He don't want to be manipulated. He doesn't want for you to blow smoke up his rear end and tell the world that you love him and have no integrity at all in your faith. And when no one's around, when you're up and not down, you think that you don't need him, and you only come to him when you do. He doesn't want that, just like I don't want that. Do you want that? Do you want someone who's only there for the miracles and the bread? Or do you want someone who shows up because they were listening when you gave them the blueprint, the map, the treasure map on how to find him? Isn't that who you would want? If you were the Most High, are you going to tell me that you'd be okay with marrying someone who didn't really take the time to learn about you, discover you? Wouldn't you want to discover someone and them to discover you, who you are, what you like, what you don't? That's who I want. If I'm going to marry someone, I want to know that it's going to be a done deal. I don't want to have to roll the dice anymore. And I know you wouldn't want to. You shouldn't, or no one should expect the same from Abba Yahuwah. He is, in fact, the Most High. There should be no doubt about the wrong if we go read Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Zechariah, Psalms, Proverbs, Joel, Haggai, Amos, Malachi, all that. Revelation, and John, and Luke, and Mark, and Matthew. It's everywhere, Mishpachah. Right here in Luke 13, verse 18, therefore he said, what is the reign of the Most High like, and to what shall I compare it? It is like a mustard seed, which a man took and threw it into his garden, and it grew and became a large tree, and the birds of the heavens nested in its branches. Now why, if you look, we keep reading here, he doesn't mention in this chapter anymore about the mustard seed. So why did he mention the mustard seed? Why did he say that the kingdom is compared to a mustard seed, which a man took and threw it into his garden, and it grew and became a large tree, and the birds of the heavens nested in its branches? Isn't it amazing how these words spring into life when you are following the truth? And they make perfect sense. In all those years, you think about all the times you read these things and they didn't make a lick of sense. That's because you weren't hot on the trail. You weren't Toucan Sam following the Lamb wherever you can. You only read it when, and I did the same thing. I'm not saying this for you or anyone to feel bad. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. I'm trying to encourage you and see what you could have, what we could have had back then, but it's for an appointed time. I'm just thankful we have it now. But if you're seeing this for the first time, how amazing it is that it's making the sense that it is now. I'm trying to encourage you to not stop. Keep going. Pedal to the metal. He threw it into his garden, and it became a large tree, and the birds of the heavens nested in its branches. And again he said, to what shall I compare the reign of the Most High? It is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of flour until it was all leavened. And he was going through the cities and villages, teaching and journeying toward Jerusalem. And someone said to him, Master, are there few who are being saved? And he said to them, strive to enter through the narrow gate, because many, I say to you, shall seek to enter in and shall not be able to. When once the master of the house has risen up and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and knock at the door, saying, Master, Master, open for us, and he shall answer and say to you, I do not know you, or where you are from. Then you shall begin to say, we ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. But he shall say, I say to you, I do not know you, where you are from. Depart from me, all you workers of unrighteousness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob all and all the prophets in the reign of the Most High, and yourselves thrown outside. And they shall come from the east and the west, and from the north and the south, and sit down in the reign of the Most High. And see, there are last who shall be first, and there are first who shall be last. Mishpachah, there's no excuse. You just heard what he said. This right here. If you have based your rapture twinkle stardust theory, if you claim that you got that from the Messiah, no, he says right here. He said, and they shall come from the east and the west and the north and the south, and sit down in the reign of the Most High. And that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob you'd see them in the kingdom, while you yourself are locked out, KD bar the door. And all it takes is for you to put one foot in front of the other. Because once you do that and you act, you put your childlike faith into action, what the possibilities of what can be done with that faith and that love in the Most High to follow his word, get on your face and give all esteem, you can do anything. It's that mustard seed faith. Driving down the highway, it's nothing. You see, the way we have lived our whole lives is we've been walking around aimlessly with no purpose, no sense of clear direction. We really we've had no expectation to where we would end up. The word where we're supposed to base our faith on, it's the light that the lamp that lights our feet, that lights our way. We're supposed to base our faith and everything we do off of it, off the truth, the word, the way, and the life. But the world has decided to take matters into their own hands, and they've made things up. And all that has done has messed us up. And when you follow the word and you read what he says, you don't have to worry. You don't have to wander anymore. You can know for sure who you are and where you're going. It's a mirror, isn't it? And yeah, those who don't want to stop wandering, who don't want to come to the light and find the life, yeah, they run from it. They show us the bottom of their Nikes. But if you want life and you love the Most High, you'll be in his word, face down, following the Lamb wherever he leads you. And you'll follow him right into everlasting life, expectancy. Like these Pharisees right here, because the next verse 31 says, on the same day there came certain Pharisees saying to him, get out and go from here, for Herodes wishes to kill you. The truth has always been rejected by those who hate it. The darkness can't comprehend the light. This is the marriage supper of the Lamb, Mishpachah. This is between those who love one another. This is between those who know one another and they've willingly walked down the aisle, both of them. The Most High is not going to marry someone who can't make the time, doesn't have time to read his word, to know more about him, because they think they know. I've had people who claim that, they want me to think that they know things about me, and they could be talking about how they were talking to someone else about me, and they might, they've said things like, yeah, I know David, I know he doesn't like this, something like, I know he doesn't like vanilla ice cream. And I could have been looking at them and thinking, well, vanilla ice cream's my favorite. I mean, we had ice cream last week, and I told you this. We ate it. I've told you this like 1,000 times. And you're sitting there acting like you had to stick up for me and tell someone else who didn't know anything about me that you knew exactly, you knew just what I liked. But in reality, you look like a big buffoon right now, is what you look like. Have you ever had someone do that? I've seen that so many times. And isn't that just the worst way to be? Isn't it? I mean, so she uncovered, whoever it was uncovered their whole heart to you. They let you know that that they're trying to manipulate whoever they're talking to, you. They want you to think they love them when you can clearly see they don't. They didn't even have enough time and just common courtesy to hear you out and to know they've been paying no attention to anything you've said. You're going to give your hand in marriage to someone like that, who wants everyone to think they love you, but everyone who's looking can clearly see they don't. You would be a damn fool to marry someone like that. You'd have to be suicidal. Abba is chief. The only way he's marrying you is if you walk down the aisle. And if you ain't following his word, you ain't walking down the aisle. You don't even know where the wedding is going to take place. Verse 34, Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. How often I wish to gather your children together the way a hen gathers her chickens under her wings, but you would not. See, your house is left to you laid waste, and truly I say to you, you shall by no means see me until the time comes when you say, blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahuwah. What I've learned, Mishpachah, is that you can't go hardly anywhere in this word without seeing the map telling you where you physically have to go, not fantasy. And the fact that no one has seen it, me included, that we haven't seen this, it's enough to weep, bitterly weep out of shame. We should be ashamed of ourselves that we've been running around claiming to love the Most High when we haven't seen what his word was actually saying this whole time. We've claimed that we did. We went and we've preached whatever it is, prayed for people. We've put on this image of ourselves that we have known the Most High and that we are one for we love him. We're going to heaven, whatever. And I've realized, like I said, that I don't know if anyone really in this day and age where I can see, that I can recall. I don't recall anyone ever wholeheartedly, because they love the Most High, reading His Word to actually know what it says. That right there is a disgrace. What's it gonna be if, now that you see this truth, if you turn to the side and you don't stay on course? All words, like I've been saying, all words, all necessary and strategically placed and time precise, calculated. When He said gnawing and gnashing of teeth, He says what He means, and He means what He says. It's exactly how it sounds. That's what's going to happen. Right here, Isaiah 30. Therefore, thus said the set apart one of Yasharal, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and rely on them, on twinkle dust. Before this crookedness is to you like a breach ready to fall, a bulge in a high wall, whose breaking comes suddenly, swiftly. And he shall break it like the breaking of the potter's vessel, which is broken in pieces without sparing, so that there is not found among its fragments a sherd to take fire from the hearth, or to take water from the cistern. For thus said the Master Yahuwah, the set apart one of Yasharal, in returning and rest you are saved. In stillness and trust is your strength. But you would not. And you said, no, for we flee upon horses, therefore you flee. And we ride on swift horses, therefore those who pursue you are swift. And for those of you who don't know, when it says horses, it's meaning churches. It's congregations. It's groups, entities, organizations that come in. And, where the people give their reverence and allegiance to. These people pledge their allegiance to churches, assemblies. That you could show them the word of the Most High that's saying one thing, but if the church is doing this, that's all that matters. Most people, like I've been saying, their belief is in reality based on putting on their Sunday's best or Saturday's best, going out to eat after church, getting together, having a good time. But all the while, the one who it's centered around, y'all left him at home and forgot about him. Didn't even know. Didn't even think about it. And when you realize you did, you're not even ashamed. You boast about it. And at the same time, out the side of your neck, you tell everybody that you boast in Him. It's sick, Mishpachah. But like I said, I'm not telling you this to beat you up, make you feel bad about it. I'm telling you this to encourage you, to get you to get on the road. 1,000 flee at the rebuke of one. At the rebuke of 5 you shall flee, until you are left as a pole on top of a mountain and as a sign on a hill. Fleeing from the word, from someone bringing the word to you. And therefore Yahuwah shall wait to show you favor. And therefore He shall be exalted to have compassion on you. For Yahuwah is a most high of right ruling. Blessed are those who wait for Him. And that doesn't mean just wait until you die. That means instead of running to these fairy tales and these churches, you wait to see what He says. You wait for Him. For the people shall dwell in Sion at Jerusalem. You shall weep no more. He shall show much favor to you at the sound of your cry. When He hears, He shall answer you. Though Yahuwah gave you bread of adversity and water of affliction, your teacher shall no longer be hidden, but your eyes shall see your teacher. That's what we're seeing right now. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. And your ears hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. Whenever you turn to the right or whenever you turn to the left. See how that makes sense now? It's not fantasy, is it? There's no fairy tale in what we just witnessed. It's tangible. It's substance. It is belief. And belief, just like love, it's action. It's not fiction. And you shall defile the covering of your graven images of silver, and the plating of your molded images of gold. You shall throw them away as a menstrual cloth, and say to them, be gone. I said earlier, throw them down on the ground and leave them lay. These, when it says graven images of silver and plating images of gold, what are we, we're supposed to, we become refined, right? Well, when he says graven images of silver, that's just one more example of Abba Yahuwah's genius in how he hid things. What he's talking about right there is Isis Rael, your churches, your Jesuses, whatever it is that you've given more reverence to him. They've dictated what it is you do, and not him. Any of that. It's not literally plated in gold and silver. He's letting you know that that's what you treasure. That's your faith. It's about your refining, your walk. But when you see and you hear him behind you telling you which way to go, like he's doing to us right now, you'll throw all that stuff down onto the ground. And he shall give the rain for your seed with which you sow the ground, and bread of the increase of the earth, and it shall be fat and rich, your cattle grazing in an enlarged pasture in that day. And the oxen and the young donkeys that work the ground eat seasoned fodder, winnowed with shovel and fan. And on every high mountain and on every high hill there shall be rivers and streams of waters. What we're getting right now, everywhere you go, in the day of great killing, when the towers fall. We read in the last video that all that stuff that's happening to the false place over there, it's our great bread. I can't remember how he said it, but we're feasting on this stuff. And the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun. The light of the sun be sevenfold as the light of 7 days in the day that Yahuwah binds up the breach of his people and heals the wound of his blows. That's what you're experiencing right now. The things that were hidden and then that were that didn't make sense to you, they're all being exposed, lightened. You're clearly seeing them now. See, the name of Yahuwah is coming from afar, burning with his wrath and heavy smoke. His lips shall be filled with rage, and his tongue be a devouring fire. And his breast shall be as an overflowing stream which reaches up to the neck to sift the nations with a salve of falsehood, and a misleading bridle on the jaws of the peoples. Let the song be to you as a night set apart for a festival, a gladness of heart as he who is going with a flute to come into the mountain of Yahuwah, to the rock of Yasharal. And Yahuwah shall cause his excellent voice to be heard, and show the coming down of his arm. There you go. That's the Messiah coming down on the clouds. You're seeing it right now. You see him on the clouds. It's like when lightning strikes. You see the flash and you hear the thunder. You know that lightning has struck. The reason that you're, the fact that you're seeing what you're seeing, and you just can't believe how the truth's been there this whole time, and the world has went astray. It's deeply fallen away and hasn't been able to see this. The fact that you see it right now lets you know that you're seeing the Son of the Most High coming in on the clouds with raging wrath and the flame of a consuming fire with scattering downpour and hailstones. For through the voice of Yahuwah Ashur is broken down, with a rod he strikes. And every passage of the ordained staff which Yahuwah lays on him shall be with tambourines and lyres, when he shall fight with it, battling with a brandishing arm. For Topheth was ordained of old, even of the sovereign it has been prepared. He has made it deep and large, its fire pit with much wood. The breath of Yahuwah, as a stream of burning sulfur, is burning in it. I've told you about the Exodus. We're just going to go over there and just take a glance at it, because now that we see the Messiah, we've seen him coming in on the clouds. Now that we've seen that, we need to understand. You will understand why, what the fulfillment of the Passover, what it is, how you're going to see it, and that it's fulfilled, and it's going to. You're going to realize how amazing Abba is, and how compared to what we thought before. I mean, and it was all great. The way we looked at what the lamb represented and everything in the Passover represented, that was all great, fine and dandy. But compared to now, that's why he says, no longer will they say that Yahuwah brought the children of Yasharal up out of Egypt. No longer are they going to talk about that. But what we're going to talk about now is how he called us from the land of the north and the four winds. The first Exodus has nothing on this right here. Who we're going to be is something we've never dreamed of. All those dreams and fantasies of what our expectancy was pathetic compared to this. So, right here, chapter 12, verse 7 says, and they shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roasted in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts, and do not leave of it until morning. And what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. We eat all the word. When we get baptized, that represents us coming in the truth. It's being reborn. We are born now in this truth, right? Now we see the Messiah coming. And it's washed away all the falsehood, the lies. And we don't want to, we want to see the truth now and everything. We've been born of water and of spirit. But now we eat all of the word, and we eat it with unleavened bread. What's the bread represent? It represents the word. And if it's unleavened, that means it's undiluted. It's pure, unmixed. There's no falsehood mixed into it. There's no opinions. There's no doctrines from man sprinkled into it. It's straight from the Most High's mouth. And we have been born in water and spirit to be where we are. Now Just like John said, he said, I immerse in water, but the one that's coming after me, he will baptize you with fire. We eat all of it. And we don't leave any of it, because we know what we're going to have to do come morning time. And when we eat it with our loins girded, our sandals on our feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pesach, Passover of Yahuwah. Suited and booted, baby. You need to have your bags packed. The car needs to be gassed up, strapped tight, ready to roll. And when you get to that escape, that set apart place, the mountain of the Most High, he says, and I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast, and on all the mighty ones of Mitzrayim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahuwah. That's why he told us to do this as a remembrance. And unlike the way he did it then, when he said, I strike Egypt, Mitzrayim, the firstborn, and all the things that he did to Pharaoh and the Egyptians, it's like I was just saying, this Exodus, it's the only one anyone will talk about, because it's not just Pharaoh in Egypt, it's everything. We've been wanting, how many times have you seen people, or you said it yourself, that you want this to end? You just wished it would be over. You're sick of the pain, the suffering, the crime, the debauchery, the chaos. Well, now it's time to prove to the Most High that you actually meant that. Because the only thing left to do now is go get into the car, put it in gear, and drive. Get on the road and rip the rear view mirror off. Don't look back. That's all you have to do. Once you do it, all the crying and the pain that you claimed to, and you hoped that it would end, see, now the Most High has put the power to end that in your hands. All you got to do is take it. All you got to do is come. Run to the Most High. Don't walk. There should be no hesitation, Mishpachah. We have all our answers. I mean, how you don't even understand, you can't understand how happy, how full of joy and overwhelmed with satisfaction I am. Not overwhelmed, but beyond full, bursting at the seams. That's why in Psalms 23 he said, you anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. This is what he was talking about. And we're just getting started, baby. It's curtains for everything that's caused us pain before. All that darkness, all the sadness and death, all that stuff, they're the ones or the things that are losing sleep now. All those plans they have for us, they're the ones who need to fear that sort of thing. I see the Son of the Most High. I've seen him coming on the clouds. I see the Most High's face. And right here in his place, on my face, I'm giving him all praise, all honor, all glory, and all esteem. He's the Most High. Abba Yahuwah, our wonderful Creator, our righteousness. Don't worry about the speed limit, Mishpaka.